even bought from me. Okay, so here.
What did I buy?
I was your computer person. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
here, I want to tell you this. Two things. One, why should I have to pay a 2.5% tax on insurance I don't want?
Right.
I want to opt out of any public government health insurance, okay? I do preventive maintenance for my body, and I should control my body. I don't want the government controlling my body. What's going to happen with the health thing if this goes through? See, I'm going to tell you. My husband works at a company, and they do have insurance available, okay, which we don't elect to have. But if we do, what's going to happen is every person that does have an employee that can be outsourced as an outside contractor, they're going to eliminate those 30 salespeople, going to only keep the accounting department, the inventory department, and people they need to have in the shipping department, and the rest is going to be laid off and said, okay, if you want your job back, you're going to be a contractor. You do your own control.
Okay, let me answer the question.
Then they're going to be some.
Okay. Well, first of all,
And it'll be better
we
for
have
everybody.
contracting out right now that's amazing. You know, not just within our own community, but literally the China. If you're a computer person, you understand that.
I don't have employees.
Although
I
some of
hire
those
out.
are coming back now, I understand, which is great because in our district we have lots of call centers, and instead of calling India, I'd rather call down the street with our constituents. But you know, under this bill, you know, you have the right under current law not to have insurance. But under this bill, it's both an employer and an employee mandate. So the employer, if you're over 500,000 in payroll, you would have to, if you didn't provide insurance, you would pay a percentage to the government as a price. If you were individual, if you didn't have, okay, but you would still have to, that's why it's a combination. It's an individual mandate too, that, you know, you would have to be covered. If your employer offered it and you didn't take it, then you would have to pay a certain percentage of your income. Because what's happened is that we have a lot of people, and you may be as healthy as can be. When I was 22, I thought I was invincible. But you don't, you know, you would still, you still will have problems, and you'll end up on the public health system, and you will end up in an emergency room. Go to any emergency room, whether it's
I
not
want to
just
pay that bill myself.
you
I
know,
want to
in
pay
our
that bill myself. Why can't
Well,
you
Don't have that money.
Let me, okay, but that's what this bill will do. And the reason it's there, okay, and you have your right to have the opinion.
Why should I pay for everybody?
Opinion is yours. I know, and I told you that last night.
Okay,
No,
well,
I'm an American congressman.
okay,
I'm an
you go talk to your member of
I
Congress.
have and I will.
Okay, that's good.
25 to 1. Congressman.
No.
25 to 1, your constituents called in and said they didn't want this bill or the cap and trade. You voted against them. That's not right.
I'm glad somebody from outside our district decides he can do the job.
No,
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
80%
No, I'm not wrong.
of the people are in your district.
Please stand up.
At least, most of these people are in your district.
I am here.
Yes, go look at the piece of paper outside.
You said that there's been some changes to the bill. When are we going to get to see them so that we'll know if those changes are good? Because I am concerned about a couple that I'd like to ask you about if they've not been changed. And they are, I'm only going to mention one because there's so many. On page 430, government will decide what level of treatment you will have at the end of your life. Now that's 4 pages. So I want to know, have you taken senior citizen suicide out of the bill?
An abortion.
Yeah, you'll cover abortion, but you won't cover.
Let me get those two issues. For one thing, abortion is not covered. Because if you have elective abortion, it's prohibited, and the reason it's prohibited is no federal money. The Hyde Act's been with us for many years. There will be no federal money spent on elective abortions. And that's in the bill. Well, it was actually put in an amendment Thursday or Friday. But let me answer your first question, though. This bill, you can get to it if you go to our website. We have a link to the original bill. We're going to put the amendments up as soon as we can get them up. You know, the House computer system has to do that. But we will have a link on our site for those amendments. We amended it in our committee for 3 days, and we were in session until 12:30, and like I said, Friday night until 9 o'clock or so. So those amendments will be there. But the amendment was adopted that no public money will be used for abortions. Now, the other thing, though, if you're talking about there's been a lot of, and, the internet is great, but it's also not necessarily true.
No, I got the bill.
Oh, I know, but I can read you the bill. This bill talks about, for the first time, a patient, and it's permissive. A patient makes the decision. The government doesn't tell you to go to your doctor and talk to him about end of life. This sets up a procedure where a doctor would be allowed to bill Medicare. If a family or you go in and say, my grandfather or my dad, we think he's terminal, you tell us, what can we do? And they'll talk about a do not resuscitate order. They can talk about a power of attorney. That's in here. And it is permissive. It is not mandatory. I would vote for the bill if it was mandatory, because I don't believe in assisted suicide.
Wait. But if the government issues the orders and will not allow me the medication I need, and I'm in pain, you bet you I'm going to stick my arm out and I'm going to say, okay, for $100,
well,
give me a shot.
again,
They're going to withhold medication.
The government, right now, every insurance policy we have, including Medicare, somebody makes the decision on what's the appropriate health care for what you're doing. If you're diagnosed right now, and I have no problem, if I'm diagnosed right now with hypertension or high blood pressure, the doctor's going to say, you need to take high blood pressure medicine. There are probably a dozen different high blood pressure medications. Some insurance will only pay for so many of them, or so certain of them, and they won't pay for others. And the goal is, I think Blue Cross or Aetna or whoever, they have lots of studies that say this medicine, whether it's whatever on high blood pressure, is most effective. If that doesn't work, here's another couple. But, somebody's making that decision right now. And they're making it for Medicare and our private insurance. So what will happen is if you're in the government plan, it will probably be similar to what happens with Medicare. In fact, the Institute of Medicine is an agency that's made up of physicians. It's not a big one. It's a number of physicians who actually look at outcomes and what's best to treat certain illnesses. And that's done every day now by insurance companies in the private sector, and it's also done by Medicare. That's what the bill does.
The bill stands as is.
Well, the bill, yeah. No, not on that provision. We did amend the part on the in the advanced care planning, because there was an amendment that we adopted on Friday evening that made sure that this was permissive. And the bill, if you read the language, there's nothing in there that says you must do this. It's your call. It's your choice.
Unless it's
I have to admit, how many of you have heard me the last couple nights, or even today? So you don't know. My wife and I have had deaths of both my father in 2006 and her mom 8 days later. Her mom was diagnosed in 1995 with Alzheimer's, and went through that. Her mom, before she got so ill, she signed a do not resuscitate. She wanted to do it. It was her choice. And she was real strong about that. My dad didn't. My dad was 91 and a half. He had 91 great years. The last 6 months, the medication wouldn't help his congestive heart problem. The only solution was a heart transplant. In all honesty, we don't give heart transplants to 91-year-olds. And so he passed away from congestive heart failure, because the medication has kept him alive for a good while. But I went through the doctor and my stepmother. They've been married 20 years, and the problems we were having. He actually died naturally. The problem is that the doctor suggested we put a food tube in his stomach, and I've been on the health subcommittee, and I have just enough knowledge to be dangerous. Typically, a food tube for an elderly person does not extend your life. But my brother wanted it, and so we did it. My dad died the next day. But I know my dad, if he would have signed if he wanted to sign a DNR, he would have.
That's our choice.
It is right now. This is your choice.
That is not my choice.
Why does Ted Kennedy have a bill that protects y'all?
Okay. Ted Kennedy's not around much, but I don't know what bill he has. But, you know, the only example of federal program that anybody has to join when they Medicare. At 65, I'm going to have to join Medicare. And, you know, and I would vote to put us into the public plan. We didn't get a chance to vote on it in our committee. We may vote on the House floor. But I would put us in the public plan.